Welcome to Ignitake Podcast. I'm your host, Marquise, along with my co-host, Brian. And here we keep it real, facts, opinions, and yeah, maybe a little bias. But trust me, every take comes with receipts. We're breaking down the biggest stories in sports, debating the wildest moments, calling out nonsense when we see it, and no boring analysis, no sugarcoating, and just unfiltered sports talk with a little personality. So if you're ready for real debates, real passion, maybe a few ignorant takes along the way, let's get into it. Hey, cuz, happy Friday. How you doing today?
For sure. I'm good, man. Another Friday, another day, another dollar.
Yes, sir, man. It's just I needed this. It's been a hate-filled week at work, but it's been a hate-filled week at work. But I digress. We ain't gonna get into that. Let's get into the sports talk.
type type shit.
We had some big things go on in the NBA. Kyrie being injured, looking at how the Suns' future is going on. Going back into some of our predictions again. I think we're going to kind of touch on that almost every week until we get to the playoffs, just because it is NBA's time of the season where they do pick up. Of course, we may talk about a little college basketball today, but we definitely will be talking about the NFL offseason and some of the cuts that are happening, some of the cuts that happened to our teams, like myself with the Chargers, and some of the premier teams or coming into being premier teams in the NFL, cutting players and seeing how the free agency is going. So, Brian, man, let's if you want, let's go ahead and let's start off with the NBA a little bit, and
hmm
because I think we'll have a lot to talk about when it comes to the NFL. So,
Yeah,
man, the Dallas fans just can't catch a break. Kyrie out for the season, tearing ACL. People
yep.
trying to blame his time.
Mm-mm.
I
Freak
don't think this
accident.
was just a freak accident. I agree with that. What are your thoughts on it? How do you feel about it, etc.?
And I say I'm sad to see Kyrie get hurt because Kyrie actually was hooping and he was leading this charge for them and he was putting it all out there. Getting freak accident because like it wasn't like it was a contact. This was knee buckled. He made a hell of a move and then tore his ACL, which I think we both could speak to that. I have
Mm-hmm.
mine's tore just in similar fashion, and so I understand that. But I think AD, I think now they don't need to rush. I don't even think they should even play AD the rest of these. Like set him out, and I think just let whatever young talent they're trying to still reevaluate play the rest out because they're in like the 10th spot. Can they hold on to get a play in potentially? But I'd rather just let AD rest up, let the young guys that they have there, and then people that there's like small contracts that they might let leave next in the offseason, let them hoop and see where it takes them. Because like at this point, it's no point. That's they're done data now. Like
Yeah,
it's a wrap.
I like that idea. I don't know if I texted or said it somewhere else, but I think they should just shelf the whole season. Um, I know we mentioned in the last episode. Well, I mentioned in the last episode they're a contender when they have Kyrie and AD together. I
hmm
truly believe they're a contender, especially when
Agreed.
AD gets to play the four. You have actually really good centers that are dink and dunk guys that run the floor. They are potential. They're definitely lob threats, but they do have a little bit of post game between the both of them, Gafford and Lively.
Yep.
So I think they should just shelve the season for now. As far as their true like their core starters go, I
hmm
agree with trying to get these the young guys some runs, see what they're made of. Get these guys who are on shorter contracts, see what they have. If they're going to be, I mean, Jason Kidd is one of the brightest minds in NBA, whether as a player or as a coach. He just knows the game. So
Facts.
it gives him an opportunity to really see what these guys are made of. To be in the play-in, I mean, let's be real. There's in NBA history, really outside of the top four, there's only been one team to ever win, and that was that back-to-back Rockets team. They won as a 6 seed. Other than that, it's really been mainly a 1 or 2 seed, pepper of threes, and very minimal of 4 seeds ever even winning the title. So
Yeah.
coming in as a 10, even if you do get past the play and you're still an 8, and none, like I said, no 5 has ever won. No six, only 1 6 has won. No 7s, no 8s. So
No
shelve it
Kyrie,
for a
no
while.
AD. I don't see anybody
Shelve
up
it.
like that
No,
team. They not
give
upset.
AD his
No,
rest. If he's
no.
trying to get like some reps, give him some time, like a little bit of time. I'm not saying give him like his prime time, um, but I don't really
Yeah,
think he needs the
I think
reps.
shelve it though. Like
Shelve
this
it.
ain't no point. You might as well shelve
No
it, bro.
point.
Save it. Let him get full healthy
Yep.
and just work, shoot to
And
like you
just
said, the talent.
work him out and try to get his bag right. Um, get him settled into Dallas because it
Yeah,
is a different city compared to LA. Uh, so I mean, I'm pretty sure he's loving it, buying a house in Dallas versus having a house in LA. Um,
true.
having Texas taxes versus property tax. I mean, property taxes are crazy in Texas, but um, but yeah, I like the show of it.
Yeah, I
I
got
don't see no point, man.
yeah, and like I said before, this Luca and LeBron is duo is starting to get even more comfortable.
Hmm.
And like I said, the other night they came back and won that double overtime. Austin Reeves played like dirt, but he also that was his first game back from being injured a couple games.
Yeah,
But he played like
He
dirt.
showed up for sure in overtime though. He
He
knocked down
definitely
some big
showed up in
shots.
overtime exactly when you needed him. But like
Hmm.
literally both of them, I think both him and Braun had 30, at least 30 points and at least one I think Luca had 12 assists, Braun had like over 10 rebounds. They both had a double double, but it's just like, bro, this is starting to get a little like I said,
Yeah, I
I'm just
want to
gonna
see
be
them
interested in the
play.
playoffs.
I want to see them. I mean, yeah, the Knicks are what the 3 seed over in the East.
The Knicks was a
Uh,
good team and they was leading that whole game.
yeah, they was leading that whole game. I have no faith in Cat down the stretch. Brunson, I do for sure, but he's out tonight. We'll see what it is. Like you know me, I'm like, let's wait and see. It looks good right now. They're what 10 games in or 8 games in or something like that.
Or like 10
Um,
plus, roughly.
10, yeah, something maybe 12 games actually. So they're 10 and 12 games in. I really don't think teams have thrown things at them. I mentioned it on our last episode. I don't think teams are going to throw anything at them with their great minds that they have, especially a head coach. I think, like I said, JJ is a legit coach. LeBron James, I will never uh, talk negatively about his mind for the game. So I think teams are really not throwing things at him. And also, other than the Knicks, I mean, I know they beat Denver. Um,
Which was a great matchup for
which was
them.
a great matchup, and then they beat the Knicks. They haven't played any over 500 team, if I'm not mistaken. No real contender team yet. We'll see what it's like versus Thunder. We'll see what it's like
Yeah,
again
they
versus the Nuggets. Because again, right now the way they're playing defense, they're literally playing defense and daring them to shoot.
yeah.
They're and teams are going to figure that out. And one day they're going to get blown out because they're allowing teams to shoot. And I truly have seen no one take advantage of Luca. Yeah, he's playing a little harder on defense. I got to give credit where credit's
They're
due.
rotating. They're rotating
He's
and saving them
rotating.
some.
Yeah, they're saving him a little bit, but when the playoffs come, you're not hiding him. We
Hmm.
witness teams take advantage of it. I mean, yeah, the Timberwolves are a younger team, and like I said, I have no real faith in Cat because in the at the end of a game because yeah he'll play correctly for almost 4 quarters. The last like 10 minutes or somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes of the fourth quarter, he all of a sudden is like, "Oh yeah, I've been shooting a lot of twos and getting to the basket. Now I want to shoot. I want to shoot this random ass three and do it 3 or 4 times down the court or try some BS, like try to
Hmm.
I have no faith in Cat, and I think Cat ruined that series against Dallas. To be honest, between him and Rudy Gobert, but I don't want to get
90% Rudy,
it
10% cat, but
because
yeah.
there's no way that you're defensive player of the year just because
Asterisk.
you defend at the rim really well. Everywhere else, you get punished. In clutch time, people punish you. Luka's not the only one to punish him. Everyone has punished Rudy throughout the history of his
I ain't
career.
gonna lie. He got some asterisks to his to majority of them defense players. The only one I'm crediting is like that first one he got really in Utah because yeah, he was literally blocking everything and stuff like that. But like these most last like this last recent one, trash.
Yeah,
That was more for all help defense.
but a quote unquote defensive guy that you're taking off the court. I mean, Draymond said it. A defensive guy that you're taking off the court on a defensive possession can't be that great of a
Defensive
defensive
player of the year.
player.
You
It
can't
can't be. Can't.
can't be. That's why I think they need to redefine that, man.
You would never take Howard off the court. You would never take Ben Wallace off the court. You would never take Rodman off the court. Uh, who
Shit.
else won
They
it?
don't take Draymond.
Robinson,
Draymond won it.
Draymond, Duncan. I mean, it's a wild list. I could go almost
Yeah,
everybody in
you're not
history. You're not
taking them
taking off the
off.
court in clutch time, even if
Nope.
they're not a true offensive threat. Rodman was never a true offensive threat. Yeah, he got some stuff off the rim.
But he gonna go get that rebound though.
He gonna go get that rebound. Draymond Green, undersized guy. He knows how to. He understands the game when he's in his right mind too. he plays a game, and we talked about it a couple years ago, and I'll say it now on the internet. I told you what needed to happen in that Boston series when they won that title. Draymond needs to be an actual offensive threat, and he became offensive threat, and that whole series changed. There was other factors, but the biggest factor was they weren't allowed to um, drop defense. And I hate drop
Yeah,
defense. I think it's unless you're drop defense and gets a damn center that's getting the ball, they can't shoot. You shouldn't be drop defensive for anybody in the league at this
It's the
point.
NBA, man. Anybody can randomly get hot. Next thing you know, they can even
Correct.
they're not a good shooter, but you can have one of them
I
nights where
think the
everything
league. I
goes
think
in.
the league average over the last 10 years is people are shooting 50% when open in the NBA. So half the shots are going
That's a
in.
coin flip, bro.
That's a coin
Yeah,
flip, and that was Steve Nash's number when open. He was knocking out 50%. He was in the years he won that those MVPs, which I don't think he deserved, by the way. But we could get into that
yeah.
another time.
I think we
I
all
think
agree he
his
stole one for
MVPs are
Shaq.
asterisks
Nah,
for
I think that
sure.
the first one I think I'll give to him. That second one he stole from Shaq. I'm not gonna lie, he stole it as Shaq.
I don't think he should have had that first one against K over KG. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know ball. People say I don't know ball. My first word was ball. I know what ball is, but whatever. so,
For sure.
so
So, but yeah, no,
you
I
know
think
what I'm
I
saying?
agree with you though. I think it's good to see, like I told you, that dynamic is starting to get better and
Yeah,
better, and
yeah.
the team is starting to build around
It makes
them.
for exciting basketball,
So,
man.
oh yeah.
They're playing an exciting brand of basketball. As a guy who despises the Lakers,
Mm.
as a guy who despises Duke Blue Devils, and as a guy who does not really like LeBron James, I'm not a hater. I have to respect him. I just don't like crybabies. And you have two of the biggest crybabies in the last 25 years on the same team. Like, be a star. I understand trying to get calls. MJ used to go to the refs and like, hey man, where the calls at? But he wasn't out there super flopping. He wasn't out there initiating contact and pushing off and then all of a sudden flopping on the other end of it. Like that, I hate to see it. I hate to see it. It just makes for bad basketball. I understand selling a call. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for selling a call. But it has to be within context of the game. There's no way that a 6'2", 195-pound Derrick Rose basically walks into LeBron James, and LeBron James is on the other half of the court, falling on the half of the court, and they listed at 245. But let's be real, anybody that's seen LeBron James in real life, he's probably more like 260, 270, 260, 275, somewhere between that range. He's a big MFing dude.
Solid.
He's solid, dude. He's usually the biggest guy on the court. If you ever had a chance to see LeBron James live, there's no way he's 240. I don't believe it. He's bigger than 240 with muscle, and not in a bad way. Like, he's a big guy,
Yeah,
built
it's
guy. So, and muscle is more. If you paid attention to health, muscle weighs more than fat. So, I think he's bigger than
true.
that. But so I don't really like that. I've never liked a crybaby type guy like Luca who just wants every damn call, and a lot of times it's not even a good call to be made because he's initiating contact, he's pushing off constantly, never getting no offensive calls happen. LeBron James is a flopper. He changed him and James Harden changed the whole flop rule. Got that
Hmm.
into existence. Whatever, but with all that said, it is a great brand of basketball to watch as a basketball fan. I love seeing it. I love seeing JJ coach and make calls live and getting people in the right spots, and then you're watching that come into fruition when you get guys in the right spot. Like, people think the game necessarily is just getting the ball in the basket, but let's be real. There is a lot of technicalities that happen in the game that makes
Hmm.
getting the ball in the basket way easier, or getting a stop on the other end. And I love seeing a guy truly coach, and LeBron James allowing himself to be coached.
For
He,
sure.
he he is doing that. So it's great to see that as a ball fan. Unfortunately, it's happening for the Lakers. It is happening for LeBron James and JJ Redick and Luka Doncic. But it is what it is. As a basketball fan, I do love to see it. Even though I definitely
For sure.
despise the Lakers coming from Minneapolis, I can't stand it. I just don't
Yep.
like the Lakers.
I we I understand. And it's just yeah, it's looking good. I just think everything is starting to whittle down to see like everybody, these moves are being made and like they're paying off.
Mhm.
Like I said, Warriors are in sixth, potentially fighting for fifth. And what did I tell you? I said coming out that break, if Jimmy comes with that mindset, We not gonna be in that play-in. We getting that sixth spot or maybe potentially fifth because of how close everything is. Sitting pretty nice in sixth right now. Could get fifth depending on these next like couple of games. But Jimmy is just playing amazing, bro. And like
He's
it's
playing free. I mean, but that's what happens when you have a guy who is the most dangerous player without the ever and without the ball in his hands.
facts
Everyone needs to know where. There's no one more dangerous than Steph Curry running around the court.
because he don't
So
stop. He
because he
don't
don't
stop
stop,
moving, bro. That's the difference. That's why
and
they
he
said he's the most hardest person to guard because he
yeah,
doesn't stop moving.
for sure. And I agree with that. Like he's very unguardable without the ball because he's gonna find they're gonna throw screen after screen. He's gonna run. He's got a damn engine on him, man. That bicycle game is crazy. So um and then Jimmy is playing free. He's really getting the second option as far as the second best defender because the best defenders are gonna have to go after Steph and chase Steph all day. So he's
Hmm.
getting some free stuff, and I think he fits so perfect into what they want. I know it's been talked about a lot in bigger media forms, but he's getting free baskets. He's not just a willing passer. Like he wants to initiate playmaking.
Hmm.
Um, Now the point that I do love in this dynamic is the fact that when it does come to crunch time, seeing Jimmy with the ball in his hand, one, that's a live threat. We've seen him be clutch. He's playoff Jimmy
And
for a reason,
he's getting to that free throw line.
and he's still going to get to the free throw line, as well as the fact that he's got a guy who he knows, who he watched in the Olympics, in the biggest international stage, carry the U.S. team to a gold medal. And they want to talk about he's not clutch. Like Steph Curry is 100% clutch. He's not the clutchest player ever, but he's definitely in the category of a clutch player. And he's gonna knock down shots. And for him to just be running free, and then Jimmy, like you need a basket, one of those guys is going to get you a basket. Either Jimmy's going to get to the line, get a layup or dunk, or get to the free throw line, or Steph is going to get wide open three because everyone's concentrating on Jimmy.
Hmm.
My prediction was you guys, the Warriors, are going to be a 3 seed. I think that's going to come true, just by the way you're playing.
I would like that,
Hmm.
but I just want to get I actually want to get out of the six right now because the standings because we're playing the Nuggets right now.
Hmm.
I don't want to see them first round just because matchup wise, like yeah, we'll get the rest, but I rather to let Joker go in another series get beat up a little bit first, and then we see him after that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see him off a rest right away. So I rather just let him let I rather get that fifth, bump up to fifth and we take whoever's at four. But yeah, it's definitely a good sight to see. Otherwise, like I said, man, I don't know. I think the East is almost like physically set, bro. I don't think nothing's gonna change over there. Like I really
Uh,
don't.
I actually foresee because my prediction was the Pistons. I foresee the Pistons making us push to that 5 seed, and we're gonna see Milwaukee Pistons first
Could
round.
get I ain't gonna lie, that's a hell of a series
That's
and
a
I had
hell of a series.
Pistons could definitely win that in seven.
They could. I'm not gonna vote against Dame, but my prediction was that the Pistons are
I
gonna
wouldn't.
be
I
dark
wouldn't.
horse
I wouldn't vote
or
against. Oh,
Giannis.
it ain't that. It ain't even the Dame. It's Giannis because Giannis has been hooping like man on a
Yeah,
mission. But like in seven type of situation, they
but
definitely
I
could pull
also
that
can see
out.
because the Knicks have faltered. The Knicks might even lose tonight because Jalen Brunson's not playing. Um, they're not. He's not playing today. But the Bucks are what 3 games, 3.5 games, yeah, 3.5 games behind the Knicks. I could actually potentially see the Knicks bumping in back into a 3 seed and the Knicks
Hmm.
coming down because they're on a 4 game win streak right now. They are going to be on a lighter schedule going forward. They're going to have some
Potentially.
playoff
Yeah.
potential matchups here, but they should be on the lighter side going into the for the big for about the next 10 games or so.
Hmm.
So we could see that win streak extend from 4 to possibly 10.
Hmm.
And I think the Knicks will lose out of their next 10. They could lose the next 4 or 5, and then
Yeah, they can do
come
some
back again.
shaking up.
Yeah, so I definitely see the Bucks potentially being a 3 seed. The Cavs look like they locked up I know they locked up the playoff already. Yeah, they clinched playoffs. They're the only team to clinch playoffs so far. So, and they're vying for the number one seed overall between them and the Thunder. So it's making for some. I think there's some good matchups available. There's people talking about they believe that Terry Rozier is throwing games. By seeing some of the footage was kind of crazy. It does look
Hey,
like there's
I wouldn't
allegedly.
put it
Let's say
past.
allegedly. I don't want to
I
get sued for
wouldn't
defamation.
allegedly, but I wouldn't put it past them. Them unders hitting like crazy. Hey, hey,
So
she
now let's go getting into the Suns. I know we kind of led with it in our opening, talking about the Suns. Man, this has to be one of the most this has to be the most disappointing super team we've seen in a while. And it happens. It's crazy. I won't say it's crazy. It's also disappointing, and it's eye opening that it's another Kevin Durant team, because the one that I would say is right there with them, or a close second, or maybe even a distant second. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Is probably that Nets, where it was him, Kyrie, and Harden.
and
Yeah,
James.
yeah.
Mm, Yeah, I I didn't think this was gonna work anyways.
Mhm.
Like with them getting Bill, like because they blew up that team that just played in the NBA Finals. First of all,
Mhm.
like that team was still young and talented. So like I understand them getting KD. Cool. That's a great addition. Like KD to like that team with some of those pieces. Yeah, you might have had to get rid of like, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, but like you still could have had potentially Book, CP, KD, Aiton, even though Aiton wanted out because they didn't want to pay him. But you still had a couple other chances for young pieces. Then you got rid of whatever veterans and little pieces you had left for Bradley Bill, which then now you're banking on them three, which now your future's messed up because I think, like I said, KD just didn't want out at the trade deadline. He said it in multiple interviews now. Like he just didn't feel like leaving.
Mhm.
Like he's no, what's the point of leaving at 25 with 25 games left? Well, if it's meant for him to go, he's like it'll happen in the off season,
Mhm.
which I get it, I respect it.
I can
You know
see
what
with
I'm
that.
saying?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's at that point in his career. He's like, man, there's no point in me leaving for 25 games and then figuring it out. Like bump it. If I'm not supposed to be here, moving off season. I think KD's out of there though. We do. I think he's out of there because he has a better chance of getting moved for some other pieces than Bradley Bill has because of that no trade clause. And we see what happened. That's why Jimmy didn't get there. That Bradley Bill's no trade clause. So I think KD's out of there for some pieces. I don't know where he's gonna go. I think I wouldn't mind him going back to OKC, but then again, there's some pieces there that they would have to get rid of, which could help them, but I wouldn't mind seeing that him returning back. So we'll see what happens. Whoever get KD in this offseason is definitely going to be a good look. I think it's going to be like an OKC. I don't be surprised if there's some way, form, and fashion he can in back up in Golden State, even like he's already admitted he will play. He already on Draymond's podcast. He's already said he'll play with Draymond, stuff like that. So like, don't be surprised if it's a similar move where it's like, hey, he can go for certain things, but I just think yeah, they got to blow it up and restart again because at this point it's
does he have a player option going into this year? Because he's still in. He'll be in the contract. He's technically under contract through 2026.
yeah, but that don't mean nothing. They still want like they already know
They're saying
KD
they're
want to
going to
go.
probably trade him. Okay.
Yeah, because like I said, if need be, if he shut down the trade, because to be honest with you, if he didn't shut down that trade, I honestly think KD would be back in Golden State. I really think he'd be back in Golden State like for these last 25 games. But if he
Yeah.
didn't shut it down, I think it was like all said and done. I really do think the trade that they had set up was that trade they were talking about, where Jimmy would end up in Phoenix, KD was going to end up in Golden State, and then some of those other pieces was going to end up in like Miami and other spots. I really do think that trade was locked in. KD just told them, I don't want to move, and that's why they had to make the trade happen how it happened.
Right.
I do think if he would have said, yeah, I'm fine with that KD be back in Golden State right now, and Jimmy would be in Phoenix.
Got
So
it. Got it. Yeah.
yeah, I
So
think that's what it
I
is.
don't know, man. I we'll see how Jimmy. I think Jimmy's going to work out for the best. You get a guy who's a two-way guy. KD does play better defense on the Warriors, but also I think it's just probably because on offensive and he doesn't have to really try as hard. I mean, let's be real. He's a slim reaper. He doesn't really have to try anyway because he's a 7 footer, and there's nobody that can guard him anywhere outside of the paint. Really, to be honest. So on the perimeter, he's pretty much unstoppable.
Hmm.
Um, I don't
One of the
know if I
best
like
post
him going
fades in the
back.
game.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Probably right there behind Dirk. Probably
Yeah.
right there behind Dirk. So, I don't know if I like him going back to the Warriors with Jimmy Butler. I think it would be diabolical team if you have Steph, Draymond, KD, uh, Jimmy, and maybe Looney as a starter. I think that'd be a scary ass team because they were scary with. I think Jimmy's a better player than Clay, um, on both sides, just because he's a little stronger.
Hmm.
Um, but so we've seen it before. But Jimmy Butler's game is different than Clay's. Clay's was more of also he was more him and Steph could just run loops basically, and he didn't take dribbles. He was a catch the ball, pull up guy, which is a different game than what Jimmy has. Jimmy's not necessarily a catch and shoot guy.
Yeah.
He's
I
definitely a dribbler.
think I think it's
Now it would be
that
diabolical. Like that would be a team I would hate to
it'll
see.
seem it would, but the thing is, it'll be similar role, but you'll have because KD worked at the mid post and you had to worry about Clay and stuff, but he'll turn into the same role that Andre was in,
Mm-hmm.
Wiggins has been in.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're getting an excellent player that's going to set some off ball screens, and then you
Yeah.
forget about him. Guess what? That's
No, I
a
think it could.
lob.
I could think it could
It
work. There's
it could
potential to
work,
work. Don't get me
but I
wrong.
don't think it just it'll be too much to work. But don't be surprised in the
Mhm.
off season that there's some talks about it. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
where did
saying?
you think this failed? Do you think it failed because KD, because of Booker, because of Beal, because a combination of those
Just
guys?
think it was a combination of things because
Mm,
you really you brought in Bradley Bill, who's really not a true playmaking point guard. He's a scoring guard. You have Devin Booker, scoring guard. So now your backcourt is two scoring guards that are looking to score first, and now you're about to ask one of them, "Hey, I need you to look to pass first."
yeah. Hmm.
They're so used to being option go score. Then you have KD. You have to give KD his touches. He's very efficient in limited touches. He's already said it. I learned to make myself score in limited touches and be real efficient. But you also got to keep KD in the mix. And a lot of times they had KD standing in the corner just watching.
True.
I'm not about to have no 7 foot assassin that can go get me 30 and 12 shots.
Probably the most efficient offensive player, and I'm a mellow guy, so take this with a grain of salt. He's definitely in the conversation for the greatest offensive talent in the history of the game. I'm obviously going to put that in Melo's book because Melo
I'm not
really had that
disagreeing.
bag. Melo was a
Melo's a
there's
top
I
five
think
bucket
what did
getter.
Gil say?
Get out of
There's
here.
7 level score. You had a guy who could get to the free throw line. He could dunk. He laid up. Had all the post moves. He could shoot the three. He could shoot it from wherever. He could shoot off a pass. Shoot off the dribble. KD
Everything.
does a lot of those things really well, but I think that no one has ever done it better than Melo. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I will say this.
they're one A. They're some people's mind. They're one A and one
I
B.
will
To me,
say
they're one
this.
and two.
Melo is the greatest triple threat scorer that we ever fucking seen. There's nobody that scored so efficient out of triple threat than
No,
Melo,
no
hands
one,
down about it. He gonna hit
no
you with
one.
this pump fake, this one dribble hezzy pull up,
Wait,
this jab step.
just wait.
Is
Wait till I
it's
could get MJ, and I'm talking about my MJ. I'm talking about my son. For those wondering, my son MJ. When I get him involved with that triple threat jab step, it's gonna be crazy. So, and
exactly. He
especially
was
if he's
so
a
efficient.
lefty, and I think my son is a lefty. But this is future conversation. We're gonna put this in the archive for those because I'm a LeVar Ball, y'all. I'm gonna show. See, I'm crazy. I'm gonna show up with a hat that said "I told you so."
Hmm. Type shit. But not like so. Like to go back to that though, but it's really like that though. I just don't. You're asking somebody to give up what it is, then you're putting KD in the corner where he shouldn't be. Like
Yeah.
I understand here and there, cool, but like
Mm.
KD should be at some point. KD should be involved in that offense, whether he is getting the ball and letting him play make off of that, just how he did in Golden State. He was catching it at the elbow a lot of times, and it was like KD make a move. You can either go score or there's some form of an action going on beside him. Like it just I just don't think it worked because of that reason. Like you didn't have
Yeah,
nobody that was like you didn't have a guard out there that was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna facilitate and get what you need to get KD his bunk. Book, get your shots. They had a center, what was it, Nurkic before they traded him too. He was still valuable. Like the man could literally score. He's a great rebounder. He can shoot the three. He can post up if you give him a few touches. And he also can make good plays when he has the ball. Like, hey, I
very
can drop a
efficient
nice little
passer.
pass.
A very efficient passer.
Exactly. So you had pieces. It's just you didn't have that facilitator. You had three scorers,
Hmm.
and your offense just was predicated on shit. Hey, Book, you're the one.
It's not
Book's
his
look.
game.
It's not his
It's
game.
not his game.
So I think that's where it is. That's why I said
And Beal
like,
has always played with a one. Actually, both of them have always played because Book's career until this big three here, he had CP3.
come on, man. CP3 when they went to the finals, Book played off ball. Then you let him come off some pin downs, get to that action where he can catch it
Yeah,
in either in that mid range, and he has one of the best dribble pull ups. He can go. That's like, come on, you know
he
what I'm saying,
wasn't
and you
that in
had.
Kentucky. He wasn't that in Kentucky. So you're asking. I don't think he was that in high school.
No, he's
Uh,
always been a scorer. So
yeah.
you're
So you're
asking
asking
somebody
people to
to
do
play
something they've
make it.
never done in their entire life.
Exactly. It's gonna be
Yeah.
hard. I don't care how much of a great professionals we are. If it's something that you haven't done, it's
No.
gonna be hard for you to
No, we
do.
talked about it in our last episode when Westbrook's one of Westbrook's quote is there's a difference between passing to pass and passing to create a shot.
Exactly.
Everybody in
And
the
that
NBA can pass a effing ball. There's nobody. There's people in rec centers right now that can pass the ball. Anybody can pass the ball. If you have the muscle strength and hand-eye coordination, you can pass the ball. Point blank period. But not everyone can create shots with their passing of the ball.
facts.
That changes the difference. That's the difference between what a point guard or a playmaker is versus a guy who's just passing the ball to get it out their hands and try to create some motion
Mm-hmm.
to get a shot. Because
Facts.
that's what I do. I'm passing the ball to try to get a shot. I'm trying to get open somewhere so I can get off myself.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's guys like yourself who pass the ball to get people shots. Or you're going
Mm-hmm.
to pass the ball because you know you're going to move somewhere, make a screen, and get somebody open to create a shot. There's a double
Exactly.
motion.
Or let me just get off the ball real quick. Go get somebody help. Let me go free somebody else
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think is gonna score,
Which is
and then
completely
come back
different.
and get this mug because it's just part of. Hey,
There's
I
a
didn't
difference
see a
between a
look.
John
Didn't
Wall and
see
a
anything.
CP3. That's really what it is. There's a difference between a John Wall and CP3. John Wall did have average good assist numbers at point guard, but he was also a scoring guard.
Yeah,
So
but
he was
he
gotta
also
go get
he
some
like
buckets.
he said I like to pass.
I like the
I
pass.
just can go get a bucket.
Yeah,
And that's the difference. And
yeah.
so I just think you got to blow that up and go from there. Like, yes, y'all's cornerstone is booked. That's why I feel like KD still has a lot of value to a championship contending type of team to where you can still trade KD to somewhere that he wants to go that is a solid contender and get you some pieces back to help keep building and some picks here and there. Bradley Bill is the issue because of his no trade clause. He's got to be sent somewhere that he has to prefer. It's not going to be like, hey, you're going to go ship him off somewhere. He's going to have to be somewhere
Mhm.
he can be at and do. So, like I said, I think KD is going to get moved for some pieces. And then potentially Bradley Bill may get moved on some type of decent deal for
Yeah.
somewhere else.
It's gonna be a multi-team trade. It's not gonna be a team and team trade. It's gonna be multi-team,
Hmm
3-4 team trade, for sure to get some of these guys moved. And unfortunately for the Suns, in Bradley Bill's case, he's one of the two no trade clause in the NBA. So that also makes it tough for them to actually make the moves that is necessary for their franchise to get back on track. I don't think Booker's going
hmm
anywhere. It's going to be KD and or Beal.
Yeah.
So, all right, moving on. Let's get into this NFL action. There's the offseason has already started. A lot
So a
of
lot
cuts
of
have
good
been
moves.
made. A lot of
A couple trades.
yeah, a couple trades, couple moves. Sam Darnold hasn't signed yet. I think Kirk Cousins is going to man, where is he going? Kirk Cousins is going to the Jaguar or to the Tech. No, not Kirk Cousins. Kirk. What's the receiver's name?
You talking about
Uh,
Christian Kirk? Christian Kirk?
yes, yeah, he's going
Yeah.
to the Texans from the Jaguars. We
hmm
had my Chargers released Joey Bosa. who's been a franchise player. Debo getting traded from San Francisco to the Commanders.
Yep. You
DK
got
Metcalf requested for a trade from the
Trey
Seahawks.
Henderson, Trey Hendrickson from the
Is
Bengals
seeking trades from the
offered.
Bengals. They've allowed that to happen, and the Commanders cutting their defensive tackle Payne.
Yep, and you got
Yeah.
Evan Ingram had got cut as well from the Jaguars, and
Hmm.
then they announced they officially announced Devontae Adams got released too. So
That's correct. And then Aaron Rodgers is still out there. I think he should just retire, but who can tell
it's
Aaron Rodgers what to
Rodgers.
do?
Right. He'll mess around and slip to somebody that needs something. So, but I think some of these moves is crazy. I do
Hmm.
think they're. You got also Tyler Lockett got released too. He did.
Hmm.
He got
Hmm.
released too, which is a good pickup. Max Crosby, we don't know what the Raiders are going to do. They're playing games with him too. But I think the Debo trade is interesting because right now Debo look like somebody auntie in a fat suit. Like he got that James Harden when he was in Houston trying to get out of there, fat suit going on.
Hmm.
If he come back in shape, that offense is gonna be scary. Because now you give him a utility weapon on side of Terry, and I think that offense is gonna be nice. And they're building in Washington with JD and their defense, even that with the cut of Payne, they're still a good team. So I think Debo is he comes back healthy and in shape. That's a problem. I do like that move.
I
I
think they're
do.
I think they're making a push to try to get Miles Garrett.
It's a few of them. Philly's also making that same push.
Yeah,
Philly's making that push.
and they have to if
Commanders
they're in
are.
division. They're division. So
I,
Bobby
I,
Wagner's resigned. I'm sorry to cut you off
nah,
mid
I
thought.
don't want to see Miles Garrett over there in Philly though,
I
because
don't want to see him in Philly
I
either.
swear to God, he ends up in Philly. That's the most dangerous
That's a
front
dangerous team.
four ever.
That's a oof,
They just rushed Patrick Mahomes with four. Just imagine you have Garrett, Davis, Carter,
sweat.
Nolan Smith. No, it's not Sweat.
Oh yeah, so yeah,
Nolan
no
Smith was
Swift.
on there,
Yeah,
but if Sweat but that's a rotation.
yeah.
Sweat and Swift, even if you put Sweat and Nolan Smith on the other side, whoever it is, that is a whole rotation.
Hmm.
I do not want to see that because now
No.
you have to slide to Miles' side regardless of it.
Hmm.
But now you leave Jalen Carter, who just showed who had an amazing year at defensive tackle. He's one
Two.
on one.
Yeah, his second year.
He's
Yep.
he's one on one. Yeah, he's getting back there. Yeah, that's scary. So
That's
I
a
would
problem.
not like to see that. I would not like to see that. But I don't think a lot of people is. I think that's going to be, yeah, the Miles Garrett situation. I think we won't see nothing until after the draft or
Yeah,
like
because Cleveland's
draft.
saying they don't want to let him go. I'm like, bro, I get it, he's under contract, but he's tired of being on a losing franchise.
The
I
man
get
was
it,
there when y'all was not winning the game, bro.
and still performing.
And he re-signed with you guys after that. So
Hmm.
like due diligence, man. Let the man go where he wants to be wanted now or where he
Yeah,
wants to go.
but the
He's been there long enough and gave y'all
for
his
sure.
all when y'all weren't shit. Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
So
the big signings though, the big re-signings I will say is the Zero. Damn, effing up his name. Apologize. With the Texans, I'll share I think
oh,
he's
yeah,
a
the
linebacker.
linebacker. Yeah,
Yep.
he was solid for them.
And
He
then
was definitely
Bobby
solid.
Wagner re-signed for another year with the Commanders.
That's a good vet presence. I
Those
like
are
that.
two good recent re-signings.
Oh, what's his face got those two trades. I you know what? I like what the Bears are doing right now with their head coach. They went
Hmm.
and traded for two solid offensive
Offensive tackles.
offensive
Yeah,
lines
yep.
when they're healthy.
Hmm.
Tooney and the other dude that is familiar with the head coach now, former offense coordinator of the Lions.
Hmm.
That's a good pickup for them. They're trying to get Caleb some help. I like that. I will say that that was some good moves. I want to
Yeah.
know where DK. I don't know where he's gonna go, but whoever gets him is gonna be a problem. Just
Yeah. I think, man, I hope he goes somewhere where
there's some
there's a
fits.
solid where it fits for sure. But he's a monster, man. Let's be real. There, you can't press cover the guy. He's fast as all hell. He's got pretty much sure hands. He's clutch. He's got a really good high point. He's not a big, tall guy. But he high points really well.
Like,
So
DK like almost 6'4", right?
Yeah, but he's not like what I would consider tall.
He don't have the
Yeah,
long wingspan that you would
yeah. I
expect
mean,
somebody of his height.
He's
I
taller than
get you
both of
that.
us. We're both 6 feet tall, but
Yeah.
I don't because he's I you got to be 6'6" and up for me to be. I'm sorry for all the men out there that are 6'2" and 6'3". You're not considered like tall to me until you're in the 6'6" range. Just being
I feel you.
fair.
Nah, I feel you. Nah,
Now you're
you
taller than
speaking
me. Don't
facts.
get me wrong. You are
You taller than me, but you're
above
not
average
like.
height, but you're
Yeah,
not what I would consider like a tall guy in professional sports.
I feel you. No, I feel you. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know where you because he wants to go to contender. I just don't see where he's gonna end up and like who's gonna make that play. Um, I
I
there's some
mean, to
sneaky
see,
ones.
listen, I would love to see him in LA, the Chargers. Actually, I would love to see him in both LAs. Um, I would love to see him in Minnesota. I would actually love to see him out there in Carolina with your boy Bryce. I think Bryce came into his own, like he grew into his own
Yeah,
at the second
but
half of the season.
he wants to go to a contender though. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
well, I just listed two contenders. Like the Rams are a lot. They were one play away from beating the potential NFL
I see the
champions.
Chiefs. I see the Chiefs trying to make a play.
I see the Chiefs. I mean, I was gonna get there. I can see him going to the Chiefs. I want to see him where he hell go to Baltimore, go to Buffalo. Like those are contenders
Mm,
with really good quarterbacks, like true good quarterbacks. I think that they're legit.
and I wouldn't think in Buffalo, but that's actually a good move.
Yeah, I think Buffalo's good because I like the way Josh Allen is playing now. Like Josh Allen has finally understood. Um, Listen, sometimes I need to take a sack.
Hmm.
Like that is by far like Pat Mahomes learned that early. That's why he's won so fast early. I mean, he's only ever known the AFC championship game and beyond. He doesn't know anything less than that. He only knows the AFC championship game or Super Bowl when it comes to what the end of the season is. And he learned early that sometimes
Hmm.
it's okay to take a sack because we're gonna get a field goal here. I don't need to try to make a play, either fumble the ball or throw a pick because we're gonna get 3 points. We can at
Hmm.
least get 3 points, or it's second down. Let me go ahead and take the sack because we still have the third down to go. We're still in field goal range, etc. And to see Josh Allen grow the hell up and not just try to make all the big plays. Like I think Buffalo would be a super solid place for him to go. I would love to see him with Lamar Jackson because yes, Zay Flowers is that guy, but
Hmm.
when you compare him to those guys who've been that guy, like a
But
DK, like a
I
Justin
think
Jefferson, those
if
guys.
you partner him in Baltimore though, like you
Hmm.
move Zay to be Zay goes from being like he's your deep threat, but your number one receiver. But it's just like now you push him there. You can move Zay in the slot. You can move him to outside because now you have to leave DK on that outside
Hmm.
and you move Zay on the slot. Now you have your clicker. He
Hmm.
can run routes. He catches tough catches. Now you can move him in the slot where now
Yeah,
he's even more
his
dangerous.
biggest
So.
impact will be in two places, and that's the two places I just mentioned: Buffalo, because Coleman is nice.
He can learn though.
He's not great at separation. He's never been great. Even in college, he wasn't great at separation. Now you have a guy who can separate with
Yeah.
DK Metcalf, and then you just give Coleman. He's your number two, and also you give him more routes that are like the your security blanket routes,
Mm.
and he's not necessarily trying to be your deep threat or being a mix, right? And
He can learn from DK though.
oh yeah, for sure. And
That's a
then you
great
get him in Baltimore. I think he has a super big impact because Zay Flowers. I truly believe Zay Flowers is like that. I think
yeah,
Zay Flowers right now is
he
probably a
showed.
top 10 receiver, um, probably higher than a top 10. We could talk about it. As far as current players right now,
I would say
Zay's probably in the
you
top
could have an
10.
argument for it for this
Yeah,
past season. Yeah, you can have an argument. He had a
And
good
it would
year.
have been different had he not got hurt. Like I think that
Yeah,
game would have
he
been very
definitely
different had he not got hurt.
yeah.
And you move him to a two position, and then you have DK, and then again you can mix the routes up. You can make because they both have hands.
Hmm.
They both have good hands. They don't drop a lot of passes, and you can mix and match what routes they're running.
Hmm.
DK is definitely a more of a deep threat guy, a go ball guy, but he does a pretty good job of
Hmm.
what the hell is this thumbs
Yeah.
up? Oh, right. Did you see that? Did you see, where did that come from? What the fuck was that? What was that? What was
Don't even
that?
know, bro.
What did you do? Don't cut this. Keep this in. But anyway, I think DK is DK. They're both really good route runners. I think Zay's a better route runner than DK. Um,
Facts.
but
Facts.
you can mix and match what routes they're running, trying to get them both because they're both really good deep threats. But DK, in my opinion, is the better deep threat, and I think that those two teams, Baltimore and Buffalo, he would have the biggest impact and of a true contender. Those guys are contenders. Let's be real. Like they're in the
Hmm.
conversation for a contender. Yeah, they still got to go through Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs, but
I think it'll
uh,
help them. It'll help them out. Like I said, I think Pat also. The one
yeah.
person I am looking at that I don't think the Chiefs they'll try to. I think they'll entertain the DK
Mm-hmm,
trade,
mm-hmm,
but
mm-hmm.
I think low key they may go try to go get Cooper Cup because Cooper's on the market. The Rams already let him seek trades, so I wouldn't be mad at that. You go line up Cooper Cup over there in a Chiefs uniform. He gonna run routes. He gonna get open. His is like he
Mm-hmm.
had a healthy year up until like the last couple of games where he did get hurt, but I think
Mm-hmm.
he was majority healthy. And when he's healthy, we've seen what he's done. You
Yeah, and to
let
see him, Xavier Worthy, and
him
Rasheed
Worthy,
Rice,
Rasheed Rice, you
that would
let
be
Rasheed
this.
Rice
That
get
would,
more
yeah,
healthy and be able to you don't have to
and that would lighten the load on
force
Travis
him.
Kelsey.
Yeah, and then you have Travis, but then like it helps Rasheed Rice come back. You're not rushing him to come back. Worthy should take that next step up. Now you have Rice where he showed that he took a step and just got hurt. You let him come back, and then now you have Cooper, who is a great route runner. So now you're kind of like, what are we gonna do? I do see them if they don't try to make a trade for DK, they go for Cooper. I think that's the move.
I think those are two solid moves. Uh,
So the other thing I'm looking at is the Darius Slay and Jair. Slay wants to come back to Philly for a year, but he said if he doesn't take a pay cut for them, he'll rather go make a return to the Lions before he's done.
hmm
And then the Packers been shopping Jair around, but some teams think that he's gonna get released before they trade him. So if Jair gets released, that's a big piece for somebody that needs a solid corner on their defense,
he's definitely one
and
of the best corners in the game.
he's gonna
When
get yeah.
healthy,
There's
when healthy, he's probably in the conversation for top three, and
teams
I
is
don't
gonna go
think he's
after
three.
him. Yeah,
I don't think he's
hey
three.
man, he's earned it. He's earned it. So.
Yeah.
I've been hearing that too. Like
Mhm.
they're waiting him out. So I don't know what's gonna happen with him. But if he gets released, all hell gonna break loose for a lot of good teams that need a quarterback. That's gonna be a bidding war.
Yeah, because I think he's better than Sauce, uh, and um, he's definitely arguable better than the young boy out of LSU from Houston, who's nice. That boy's nice.
Stingley, okay,
Stingley's
okay.
nice.
I was about to say because that means you must know who number one is. And his name ain't Ramsey. He in your division.
You talking about old boy in Detroit? No, no, you
I'm
talking
talking
about old
about
boy in oh, you talking about PS2?
yes, sir.
PS2 is
That's
like that.
one. That's
Yeah, yeah,
one.
that's
It
one for
ain't
sure. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. I was gonna say, okay. I was just Jay up there. I think Stingley definitely was the second best corner this year.
Stingley is crazy good, man.
He
I'm
had a
glad
great
he's
year.
healthy. I'm glad he's healthy, and to you have to recollect like he went to LSU and he had to play against guys who are coming out of wide receiver U. Like I know your team, your school is in the conversation for wide receiver U, but let's be real.
Morris, I'm not discrepancy. We ain't got no issues when it comes to if you want to say why I always refer to wide receiver you when it comes to like how it was college wise,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and then when it comes to how they played in college, I think we take that cake
yeah,
when it
yeah,
comes
yeah.
to college. When
But
it
they have
comes
the
to
better
that terrain,
pros.
they transition a lot better
Yep,
over these last 4 years, 5 years, if you
yep,
want to say.
yep.
It's really been the last 5 years where you really seen a distinct definition, especially these last ones. You got Jamar, you got Jettas, you got Malik and Brian Thomas Jr., who just them two just came in and just like, oh, okay. So like these last couple, you're just like, damn. I think.
I mean, I think you
I don't,
guys are unfortunately wide receiver. Let's be real. You guys got
yeah. So
Olave, you got Harris
I
Jr.
think
You
better
got some
like
bangers out of your
in
league,
college,
out of your
in
college.
college, I think we take that cake when it
Yeah,
comes to saying transitioning from college to the pros. I think we
yeah.
do still do have a good ones. We haven't. I will say this: we haven't had that true specific like standout number one.
Hmm.
The only one that has done that in a few years. Marv is gonna do it when Kyler started showing like, hey, I'm gonna start getting this man the ball, and
Yeah.
Marv started showing it. But
Hmm.
Garrett Wilson's been the only one that really came out and showed it. Like,
Hmm.
hey, didn't matter because what happened? Without Rodgers, the
Rookie of
man
the
was going
year.
crazy, rookie of the year, and
Yep.
didn't have Rodgers. Rodgers came back, he still was doing it, and it's just like, yeah,
Even with Devontae on the other side.
you got your favorite target over there in Devontae Adams. Where was
Yep.
you going? You
Yep.
was coming up ahead of me.
Yep.
So like Garrett has shown it on his own.
Yeah. I mean, you
Chris,
guys are. Let's be real. You
yeah,
got
we
LSU
have
and
great talents.
LSU
Yeah,
and OSU are in the conversation for wide receiver.
yeah, I would say,
No.
but that transition
Yeah.
from college to pros, they've been having one hell of a. They got it
I
right
mean, they
now.
have the number one and number two
Like
guy. Let's be real. They got the number one and number two guy in the league, and that's Jetta. And however you cut it,
shit,
it's
they had
Jetta
the
and Jamar
shit.
Chase.
They had the number one and number two, and then they had the top two rookies.
Right.
They did.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Neighbors
For
and
sure.
Thomas Jr. was in the conversation, both
Right.
of them for the best rookie receivers. Plus, they were also in that top 10 discussion for receivers overall this season.
Yep.
So, like,
Yeah.
in
So I would yeah, man, we'll see to get back into it. We'll see what comes of it. It's looking very spicy because a lot of teams
hmm
are they're cutting players to kind of in with the thoughts of re-signing them to because the new CBA is coming out. The salary cap is expanding. I think it's $20 million or something like that.
hmm
And so what they're doing is just for those that are unaware, when they cut a player, they're going to re-sign them and then put that money that, let's say they're going to be making $20 million for the year. They'll put that money and disperse it into a signing bonus so it doesn't actually affect the cap. And they
hmm
also kind of extend them a little bit. So even if it's like they extend it by 1 or 2 year, 2 years, so it's a 3 year contract versus the one that they had left. That's kind of what they're doing.
Okay.
It's been happening in years past. It's been a lot more fluent uh, in recent times, but we'll see what teams are doing. But they're also letting teams shop. Like they're kind of do like that's the new trend is they're like, okay, well, you want to shop the market, we're gonna let you shop, and then we'll think about matching based on
hmm
what they think their value is. Some of these teams, like let's talk about it. The damn Giants, who's in a shithole of an organization, and allowing Saquon to walk because they could have re-signed him. They didn't want to go over 12 million. I think he was making 13.
Blame the owner.
No. It was not the owner. The GM's fault for that. The owner wanted Saquon back.
Yes.
The owner said it himself. He said, if he goes to Philadelphia, I'm going to lose sleep over this.
Yes,
It was the GM's fault.
but that owner could have put his foot down
He
and
could have.
also
You're right.
you
You're right. I don't want to
he
argue that. You're
still,
right.
yeah, he
But
still could have put
but
that
that
foot
minor
down
league
though.
team in New York, actually, both of them teams are minor league teams because let's be real, the Jets are in fifth place
I ain't gonna
when it
lie,
comes to defender
they ain't been
titles.
good since butt fumble.
The, they ain't be good ever. I mean, they got a guy in the Hall of Fame that had one good season in Joe Namath, who has like 40 more interceptions and touchdown passes. I know it was a different era, but 40,
Hey
Broadway
man,
joke. Shut the hell
like I
up.
said,
The
they
New
ain't
York
been
teams
good since
suck, even
last
though
time
the
they was
Giants
solid
have
was butt fumble.
multiple championships in the last 20 years or so. And their teams beat the greatest of all time in two important games. But like they're both minor league teams. Both the New York teams are minor
I
league
got the
football
Giants
teams.
getting out. I got the Giants getting out before the Jets though. I got the Giants doing something before the Jets though. So
Because they
because
have a history of winning. Like I agree with that. They have a
they
history of
also
actually
but you go
doing
look at it,
something.
go look at it though. The Giants defense was actually like top 10 this
Yeah,
year.
but
So
also
it's
you got to remember that they're in the division with the Eagles and the Commanders. Yeah, let's Dallas fans with the Cowboys are here. Shut up. We ain't gonna talk about y'all until Jerry Jones. Look, I'm not wishing death on
yeah
nobody
until
until
Jerry
Jerry Jones is
Jones
out of the way.
is out of the, yes,
You
y'all they're
guys are gonna be
done.
in the shithole for a while. So Cowboy fans,
And
buckle
if
up.
you don't think so, um yeah.
Buckle up. It's a wrap. Buckle up, Cowboy fans. It's not next year. It's not the year after. It's when Jerry Jones passes away or gets out the way. Again, I'm not wishing no death on Jerry Jones. He never done nothing to me, but
Everybody knows it.
he's you
Y'all not
guys
doing
is
nothing without Jerry.
he's your worst enemy. It's Jerry Jones. He's the reason the Cowboys have been nothing since 1996, since the last time you guys won a title. He couldn't. He didn't want Jim Johnson around, even though he just won a title. Like it doesn't make. He wanted a guy that answered to him. He wanted to feel like he was responsible. Everything that he does is either for marketing or for credit. Point blank. And that doesn't make a good owner. That doesn't make a good leader. Good leaders take blame and give credit. He should know how to get out the way. He's what's in the way of you guys, and you guys should know this. If you're a Cowboys fan, talking to all y'all, every one of y'all in America's team nationwide, Jerry Jones is the problem, not Dak, not CeeDee Lamb, not
It's
podcasting Mika
it's
Patrick. None of that. It's Jerry Jones.
it's always been Jerry. And if you hang think so, like I think you need a sponsorship from New Era because the cap is very real, man.
Cat's real.
Like
Cat's
I
real.
don't
So
understand it. I don't.
get out, but they. I think you're right. They will get out of it before the Jets, because the Jets have been a nothing franchise forever. Like I was saying, they're fifth all time in division titles. Let me say that again. There's 4 teams in each division. They're fifth all time for division titles. You know what that is? Because the Indianapolis Colts have more division titles than them as a AFC East team, and they haven't been in the AFC East since 2003. So 22 years, something like that. The Indianapolis Colts have been in the AFC South, and they still have more division titles than the Jets. It's a poop franchise. Whoever's a Jets fan, I don't feel sorry for you because it's a choice. There's 29 other teams. There's another team across that plays in the same stadium that you could be a fan of, and you still choose to be a Jets fan. God damn, you just love suffering. Just, if you're a Jets fan, you just love suffering. Let's be honest. If you're a Jets fan, you love suffering. I feel sorry for you. You need a therapist. Go seek help. Use your insurance. I don't know where to lead you, but you need to find it. Maybe you need Jesus. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. not the Dr. Evil chair turn. No way. They need help, man. They need help. They need medicine. They need Jesus. They need a therapist. I don't know. I'm not a professor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a god. I'm just a man. I'm a mortal. Y'all need help. If you're a Jets fan, you need help. If you allow your kids to be a Jets fan, you need CPS called on you. Why are you letting your children be Jets fans? Come on, son. Get out of here. Get out of here.
In other words, a comment that I see said, Jesus excited this shit.
Jesus exited Tuesday and Sunday. I don't fucking know. That's what Jets stands for. He got up out of there. He was like, Jets, Jets, get the F out.
Done, bro. And it is what it is. But I don't foresee that happening.
no,
But
whatever.
yeah, it's some other stuff. I know you kind of wanted to speak about, some of the slack that they're giving Shador, like and stuff,
Man,
which I think a lot of us truly agree that this is their only way that they can get back at Dion,
man,
and his
let's
son's handling it
I gotta give
like a champ.
credit. I gotta give credit to Mace, with their amazing, him and Cameron's amazing, and Jess, their amazing podcast, and it is what it is. And he said it best: when you don't like somebody, they're arrogant, they're unruly, uninterested. They're like these negative, narcissistic. They're these negative things. But when you like them, they're confident. They speak life into the room. That's true. Yes, I do feel like these teams are trying to get back at Dion for what? I'm trying to understand what Dion did that hurt these NFL franchises.
Too damn good. That's why.
He's
And
too damn good.
he
He knew his
talks shit.
worth.
He
Yeah.
talks shit. He backed it up, and then talks just for somebody to talk so damn well to talk shit, and like I said,
And
it
he knew
just
his worth. Let's be real. Dion, since he was drafted, has known his worth. He's been a model citizen of the black community. Because he made that portrayal, like the whole thing with the gold chains and all that. He said these are how guys grew up in my neighborhood, in my area. They were drug dealers, and I want to show the kids that you can look like that still without being a drug dealer. Which
hmm
is let's give a applaud to Dion. He's admitted his own demons on when he was addicted to painkillers. Um, he understands who he is. He knows who he is. He's a man of God. If you're a religious person, I mean, the man was preaching at one point in time. So I think it's crazy to kind of go after Shador. Shador is a elite talent. If you don't think Shador is an elite talent, then you either don't know football or you're a hater. When you watch the film, he makes every single throw.
hmm
He's won at every level, and maybe he's not won a title. He might not have won a division, like he hasn't won a Big 12,
they've progressed
but they've
every
progressed.
each time.
Let's be real. Deion Sanders took over a team that was a 1-win team that was losing games on an average of 3 touchdowns or more. In the following year, they won 4 games and they played 6 ranked opponents. They beat one, that was TCU at their first game, and they got blown out by one, which was Oregon. The rest of the ranked opponents they played
Or close games.
was a one score game. And then
hmm
they are an 8-win team. They're bowl eligible the year following, and I think they're going to be even better next year because they do have. I think they have the second best quarterback as far as the recruiting class goes. I think they're number 2 or number 3. Like he's one of the top 5 guys.
That
Uh,
they also had the boy from Liberty transfer in, Caden
yeah,
Salter,
and Dion is a
was a
listen.
great quarterback.
I think a head coach. This is what I think a head coach should be. A head coach should be a CEO. I don't believe that you should have a head coach that is making play calls. Yes, some head coaches do that, whether that's offensive or defensively, but a head coach is a CEO of the team. And then you should have a great play calling offensive coordinator and a great play calling defensive coordinator and surround yourself with great coaches. That's exactly
hmm
what Deion Sanders has done. He's an inspirational guy. He's a motivational guy. He's a guy that you want to go to. Like watching his pregame stuff, even his postgame when he talks to the team, it makes me want to run through a wall. And it's not just
hmm
because I like Dion. Like a great coach when you see one. When you talk
Yeah,
about McConnell out in Minnesota for the Vikings. When you talking about
Dan
McVay,
Quinn.
Dan Quinn, like these guys, you want to run through a brick wall with because of the way that they approach them. They approach the game and they speak
Give it
life into their team.
give credit when credit's due. Look at
Absolutely.
the Lions, bro.
Yep.
Like, look at that,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, yeah. And
They
yeah,
embody him, and he
yeah. Dan
changed
Campbell
that
is a
mentality. Yeah,
phenomenal
Dan Campbell,
coach. Yep.
even dance like the other one.
Dan
Like it's
Quinn
just
in Washington. Yep.
exactly look what they did. But it's
Hmm.
just when somebody like that comes in and from like you said, times where it was just messed up,
Hmm.
and next thing you know, they done turned it around and look
Hmm.
what's happening. They're following what the coach's mentality is and how he's leading them, and they believe in it.
Yeah.
That's what Dion does.
Yeah. I
They
think it.
believe in what he's doing.
Yeah, and I think he's won everywhere too. He's won a World Series. He won
Man,
Super Bowls.
man,
Not
bump all
alone
that.
because it's a team sport. Let's be real.
It,
Everything is
if
you
we
have to
keep
do
it,
a
if you
team.
want to be real with it, the man literally all his kids are graduating and they
Yeah.
all have high
And they're
GPAs
all
at the end of the
successful.
day.
Yeah, they're
Come
all
on,
going to be
bro. Like
successful without
all of
his
them.
money.
So
Every one
stop
of them.
acting like it's all about football with them. Go look at it. They got an award for being academically. Everybody in their team had like over a
He
3.0.
holds his guys.
Come
I
on,
mean,
bro.
if you follow any of their TikToks, any of their social medias, he he talks about for the first time ever the team's average GPA was 3 point what 3 I think it was 3.7 or 3 point like somewhere 3.5 3.6. I can't remember the exact thing, but check it out. He holds his guys accountable. He's making men. He's making
Facts.
men. And that's hard to do because a lot of these kids that he's getting coming into his program come from broken homes where their dad is not in their life, where they're raised by a single mother, so they don't know what it's like to be a man. And to get into it. Only a man could teach a boy how to be a man. And he's doing that. He's surrounding himself. He's got Warren Sharp, he's breathing life into that defensive line. That defensive line was way better than it was the year previously.
No, they were extremely
He's
better.
got coaches around him that want to not just coach,
They
but want
also just
to
brought in
make
a
men.
great running back coach.
Yeah, they want to make men. They because he understands not all these guys are going to be NFL guys. Some of these guys
No,
might turn into coaches. Some of these guys are going to be lawyers, doctors,
the
IT techs,
agents.
agents. But uh, he wants them to be law abiding men, successful men in the world, and we need more of that
Mhm.
here. And to try to knock down Shador because yes, he should be arrogant, he should be confident because who his father is. His dad gave him the game, and he's legit. He's legit. I think Shador will be in the conversation for one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. He's gonna have to be into that. And the fact that he's also
Like
getting co-signed from the GOAT himself, Tom Brady, he's done off-season training with.
his mentor.
If you think that Shador Sanders is not going to be a good pro, again, you either hate Deion Sanders or you're probably a racist and you need to look in the mirror.
You know,
Let's be real. And I think Cam Ward is going to be nice, but I think
See,
Shador is going to be a great
like
professional
they
player.
said, like they do about Bronny. If his last name wasn't Sanders, would y'all hate him so much?
And the answer is no.
Exactly. He'd
And the
just be a
answer is
great
no.
top tier. He'd just be a great top tier quarterback. Wouldn't be none of this hate.
No,
But why? Because his last name
because his
Sanders,
last name is
and y'all don't
Sanders.
like his daddy.
And he's like, I don't care. Why should he be begging him? Please, please, massa, get the fuck out of here, man. He's got his own money already. He's not doing it for the money. He's not doing it for the
He
money. He's doing it for the love
he
of the
want,
game. He
he
wants to
wants to
make a
play
name for
football.
himself. He wants to play football. And I truly believe he will go down as potentially one of the greatest quarterbacks we'll see. And if I got to eat crow in 20 years, I'll eat crow. But I he has all the accolades. He makes all the throws. He's a legit sized quarterback. He's got a great mind on him. He's got a dad who has a successful career, and like I mentioned, he's got the stamp of approval from who the current GOAT is, and that's Tom Brady, number 12, has already stamped and approved. Shador Sanders is legit.
Yeah.
You and I's opinion don't matter. Whoever else is talking about this don't matter. Why? Because the guy who we deem the greatest of all time, has given him the stamp of approval, and that's all you needed. If a Joe Montana or a Dan Marino or Peyton Manning or these Steve Young, these guys who've been there, Drew Brees, is these guys who've been there, done that, are saying this guy's legit, this kid is legit, our opinion don't matter. Your opinion don't matter. I'm sorry you feel your opinion matters in this world, but it don't. It don't matter in this sense because the greatest quarterbacks to ever play have said this guy can play, and I truly
Mm-hmm.
believe he can play.
All right. 2 cents.
you know, so it is
Hey
what it
man.
is, man. It is what it is. You ignorant mother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's unnecessary, but I agree. Like it is what it is. At the end of the day, he's a hell of a talent, bro, and he's gotten better every year. And y'all whole question was he can't do this against so-called Division 1 pro talent, and then he went up against it for 2 years and showed y'all he can. So now it's
and has
oh he's
only
not
ever
gonna.
gotten blown out once.
It's
He's
not even that. And
only
also,
got blown
he
out
won't
once.
translate. He won't translate to the league. How? There's been quarterbacks that y'all have rated way higher than him that have been
Look at Will
trash.
Levis. Titans are already looking to get out of it. He's getting year 3. And the Titans are saying he's not a franchise quarterback, but he came out of nowhere. He's
And
in the
but
conversation.
that
Woo,
goes.
woo.
That also, I think he showed strides. But again, I truly think the whole what we said before episodes ago. Stop bringing in quarterbacks and throwing them in the fire right then.
Yeah.
Let them learn the
Yep.
game and let them learn your playbook. Because
Yep.
what is it? Yes, the head coach is on the line and that quarterback is on the line. But the average young quarterback that has talent that doesn't succeed, if they don't succeed in the first 3 years, they end up getting gone.
Yeah.
And some of them do be talent. Look at it. A la Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was Right, high, drafted high,
Yep.
was supposed to be
Number
that
one or two.
good,
Yep.
had subpar years.
Hmm.
What happened? He went away, and now look what happened. Sam Darnold about to get a bag. He needed that change of scenery, but he also needed some people to believe in him, and
Yep.
he got put in a great situation.
But I also
I
think
don't.
he's got one of the great. I mean, the McVay tree is probably the best tree, offensive
I do
trees
agree. I
in
do
the
agree.
league.
I agree.
So he
I'm not disagreeing with that.
with the O'Connell
Besides a
out
couple
there.
that come out of Big Red, but like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But like, it's one of those things. Stop throwing them in there, bro. If you need to let them sit for a year
For the
and
year,
learn,
redshirt them, let them
right?
learn, or
Even if it's they don't play the
don't put the pressure on
even
them
if
that they
it's
need to win
but
now.
but that's the thing. Organizations do it, but it's like even if you
Yeah.
sit them for a majority of that first year, bro.
Hmm.
Like even if they 10 games and you play the last six, you had 10 games to sit to learn the playbook.
Hmm.
Watch film with
Hmm.
them and understand what's going on, and then when you get out there, you can make some plays. Now we're throwing them in there. You don't get me wrong. There's some. I just think quarterback is one of those positions, bro. You can't do that, bro.
No,
You can't.
I agree with you. There are definitely more examples of of players
There's
that
been more
have set a
success.
year and been more successful than the guys who got thrown into. Now, it is definitely organizational wise. You
True.
kind of elaborated on it, like when they're there for 3 years, like to see what's going on in Chicago, where you had a head coach and offensive coordinators, like all these things are changing so like fluid, like they're getting fired. You're not giving stable foundation for these young guys coming in.
Telling you,
You have to have
they
some stability in the organization, even if you're throwing them in the fire a little early. If there's
bro.
no stability from the whether that's especially quarterback, if there's no stability as an offensive coordinator or the head coach, and these guys are constantly getting fired and they have to learn new playbooks all the
Offensive
time,
changes keep
offense
every
changes.
year.
You're not putting them in positions to be successful.
That's and that's how I felt
Yeah.
about Justin Fields, bro.
Hmm.
Like Fields is not a bad quarterback. It's just he's had to learn different offenses
I
every
think he had four
year.
coordinators in 3 years
Four coordinators
and
in
two
like
head
4 years
coaches.
and two
So,
head coaches, bro. You can't you
yeah.
how am I supposed to learn a playbook and then the next
Hmm.
year we don't learn something else. I
Hmm.
gotta learn something else. So
Hmm.
now I'm reverting to what I know, which is one read, one Mississippi, I'm gone. One Mississippi, I'm gone. Now y'all saying, oh, I'm not a good quarterback. No, I don't have the time. My offense has
No,
changed. I
and to
don't
see
have
him under Tomlin this year, even though they did elect to have Russ take over the after like a certain amount when he got healthy, have Russell Wilson come take
yeah.
over the.
They
He played really well. I think he only lost 2 games, or 1 or 2 games
yeah.
under him. Um, and to
But
see him get a chance, I actually, I to be honest, I because the rumors right now is that Aaron Rodgers will potentially, is looking maybe to go to the Steelers, which I think is a
it's
huge
cold.
mistake. I think it'll be the first. This will be the first time ever that Tomlin's had a losing record if he gets Rodgers under center. I do want to see them try to run it back with Fields, give him an opportunity to
I think he
one
fit
go to
perfect
simple.
with
I
them.
think he fits perfect, man. I think he does. He was
Like
very.
he
He wasn't. It
showed
wasn't like dynamic. It wasn't like explosive, but it
it
was
wasn't
very
bad, but
solid.
he made the right plays in the right time.
But
I
I
just think,
truly think he knew that he wasn't a starter. I think that
yeah,
he knew that Russell Wilson was going to be the starter once he came back, and that also kind of diminished some of his
hmm
game. If you give him an
facts,
opportunity to earn, again, I'm not saying give anybody. I'm not the type of person that you give anybody anything. I've always wanted to
earn
earn
it.
my entire life. So
Hmm
to give him an opportunity to earn that position, will put him in a better position. And then he's with one of the best coaches in the league. I understand it's still Steeler fans, you feel like you're in a law of mediocrity, and I can understand that. But when you look at other franchises, no other franchise over the last
Still been
17
consistent.
years has been that consistent and also had winning records every single year under a head coach.
Hmm
No other head coach has ever done it. Let's be real. No other, not a Bill Belichick, not an Andy Reid, not a Harbaugh. Either brother have ever had their entire like 17 years of straight of being a winning franchise, over 500 franchise.
Yeah,
So yes, I
that's
get
fair.
it. The Steel City is a championship team. They have the most Super Bowls, or they're in the tie for the most Super
Hey
Bowls in
TJ,
NFL. It's in NFL history, but as a guy of a franchise who's been to whether I was born in Minnesota, I'm born from Minnesota, Viking, raised a Vikings fan, became a Chargers fan. Both my teams have been to 4 Super Bowls, and neither one of them have won. So, or Chargers have been to 2, excuse me, but the Vikings have been to 4, and none of them have won. so they have a history of making it to the big game and not winning the big game, and you guys have 6 Super Bowls. So my point of view is a little different, but I've had a history of my teams being
They've been
below
consistent, bro.
average.
You
Yeah.
can't. And I agree with you. I just think that, but I just think when it comes to the quarterback position, like we can throw him in there, but I only recommend that is if you had the pieces around him to
Mhm,
where it's like your quarterback just happened to retire and you had everything else around him and it's like he has enough veteran presence
mhm.
and your team is solid enough to where
And
you can
TJ's
throw him
getting
in
older.
there.
That defense is getting older every year, man. It's getting
Yeah.
older every
And
year.
so I that's why I just don't, like I said, because if fucking around, Caleb got 2 years with this. If they don't turn it around or anything, guess what? We're gonna be talking about a Heisman Trophy winner, so-called best talent since Mahomes when it came to quarterbacks, supposedly,
Hmm.
and he's out the league potentially, or he's a backup somewhere.
Yep.
But he had all the talent to be great. So it's just one of those things where, bro, like, give them a year, bro. Like, it's just,
No, I think
I
more
don't
than a
like
year.
it.
Give. I think Ben Johnson should get a 3 year grace period, and maybe the offensive coordinator gets a 2 year grace period because I think Ben Johnson's probably going to make play calls.
Hmm.
So you
Both,
probably even
yeah.
get him. Probably get both. But Ben Johnson is a first time head coach. Caleb Williams is a 2nd year player. I
Hmm.
honestly think you should be when you're drafting in the lottery, you should be giving these coaches a few years, like 2 or 3 years, to kind of figure it out, get a feel for it,
Get the
understand.
team around them.
Because look at Nick Sirianni, like he's a great example of what a CEO, what a head coach looks like. He's had what four or five offensive coordinator changes over his tenure. So and I think Kellen Moore is going to go to another team. Like he's in the talk for a head coach job. So
No, I think Kellen Moore is the head coach of the Saints.
Saints, exactly. That's what I mean. So in the previous year, that head coach would be that coach that offense coordinator became the coach of another team. So you had to give these guys time to figure
Hmm.
it out, and
Agreed.
especially if they're calling plays. But first time head coaches, like you have to give them some grace, just like you have to do
Because you
with
have to get the team to
rookie
fit their
quarterbacks.
scheme. You got to get
Absolutely.
some of the
They got to
players
figure it
out, some of
out
the
because
players in. They got to buy in.
because they want to be, if they've been coordinators their entire, they've been coordinators for the last 5 years. Let's say, Ben Johnson's situation. He's been a coordinator for the last 4 or 5 years, offense coordinator for the last 4 or 5 years, because he's constantly been in the conversation for a head coach job over the last three. So,
Hmm.
he's a first time head coach, and he doesn't know what it takes to be a head coach. He thinks he could be a head coach and still call plays. Give him a 2nd year to be like, you know what, I need to have someone to call the plays, and I'll be the CEO and keep the timeouts managed and understanding field position and that stuff, and in coordinate and like communicating with my coordinators and what I need them to do. But I'm just going to be a
Hmm.
CEO, and I'm going to let them make the decisions. And if they can't agree with each other or like agree with the decision, then I'll be the veto vote. I'll be the final decision maker. That could be a thing. Or maybe Ben Johnson is a great head coach and play caller. He could
Hmm.
be an Andy Reid.
There's been a couple of successful
He
ones like
could be a
that. Yeah.
Sean Payton. He could be
Yeah.
a Jim and John Harbaugh. Like those coaches are rare. And then on the defensive side, Bill Belichick. He could be a Bill Belichick. But you have to let them figure it out. You think
Yeah.
that they're going to come into the first year and instantly win a Super Bowl or win to be a contender is crazy work. You got to let them come into their own, give them some grace. And I think that the Chicago Bears have shown that they can't do that. And that's why they're in the shitty position that they're in. They're constantly in the top picks, the lottery picks for the last several seasons. So, uh,
Sure. That's why I
but
say
that's
you got to
also
give them
not a great
grace.
organization, even though they got one Super Bowl.
That's it. They got to be. They got.
No, that too. Yeah, they got two. Yeah, they got one way early, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because
But still, it's
yeah.
just like it's just the grace period though. The
Hmm.
same thing with a young quarterback coming in. The same thing you got to do with the coaches,
Hmm.
the coordinators. If you're literally bringing him in and then he learns the playbook, and then next year that coordinator is out because you fired him, not
Hmm.
because he earned, say, another job somewhere. You just fired him.
Hmm.
Now you got to bring in another one, and he has to learn that man's system and all that stuff. The whole team does. That doesn't do good for them. I don't care how great he
No,
is. He's still gonna struggle. That's the same thing. Like we're gonna see what happens, but I just don't. I just feel like the quarterbacks stop throwing them in there early, bro. Like I
yeah,
don't care how good we are.
give him
Bump
rest
the
year.
rookie of the year, all
Mm-hmm.
that. Like yes, bro. Sit him down, bro, because we like said the
CJ
success has been
Stroud,
higher.
CJ
The
Stroud,
success has
and
been higher, bro.
Jaden Daniels are rarities. They are rarities
Exactly.
to
It's
last.
rare.
Mm-hmm.
Like even one of the best quarterbacks of all time struggled his rookie year. Peyton fucking Manning
Yep.
struggled.
Yep.
But we still consider him as what? 1A, the 1B to
Mm-hmm.
Tom? Like,
Yeah.
come on, bro. Like he was an anomaly.
He's
It's
100% more
real.
talented than Tom Brady.
Look at Josh
Yep.
Allen. Josh Allen was thrown in, but it's taken Josh Allen to almost year 3, year 4 before we started being like, okay, he's starting to figure it out for
Yep.
real.
Yep. Yep.
He got thrown in there, but it took him a couple years to figure it out. Same thing. It's taking these time. So I'd rather
But
sit
he's
you
also
for a
had
year.
grace. Josh Allen has a grace. He's had the same head
Hey,
coach.
but yeah,
He's had the same head
he's
coach
had
through the
that
whole thing.
grace.
Yep.
But still though, it took him 3 to 4
Even Lamar
years.
Jackson. Lamar Jackson, even though he was drafted late, he has one of the better coaches and better organizations in the league, and
Yes.
they allowed him to have grace. Like he kind of got thrown. He
He's
didn't
had
start
time.
immediately, but he had time to become Lamar Jackson, and that was a conversation
Exactly.
for the
And
top
that's
5 quarterback in the league right now, top 3, really. Be honest, 2-time MVP.
two-time MVP.
Yeah,
Like
so
it's no question about
yeah,
I ain't gonna talk about this year. Like I didn't know it could have been 3, but you
it
know
could
what
have
I mean.
been 3 in a row, but
That's but you know
yeah.
what I'm saying, just a whole different discussion. But like, but still, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the grace period. So it's like, yes, it's cool to do it. There is some that function and can
Yeah.
go through that.
Hmm.
But the odd numbers favored are the ones that we've seen do great, have sat a year,
Yep.
and then there's those ones that step in and we show them, but
Hmm.
they've also like they're just determined like
Yeah.
that. Jaden Daniels has something to prove.
Yep.
CJ has something to prove.
Yep.
Like we've seen it, but like the ones that have sat and are pretty good top quarterbacks are good. Like
Hmm.
Joe Burrow had something to prove.
Yep.
Like that's
Yeah.
what it's.
But
I
they've
just
also
don't.
had structure, like I mentioned. They've
Yes,
also
and
continued
that's
to
what
have
I've
the same
said.
head
If they have the
coaches.
structure,
Yeah, they've
and that's to go back to my
yeah,
top. That's what I said. If they have the structure in place,
yep,
I'm all for it
yep,
because then you guys have the structure of the
hmm,
team, the
yep,
coach, GM, all them on the same page to say, hey, even if he struggles, we still have a veteran presence that's going to help him guide him through this,
yeah.
and
Because
we're allowing him to struggle.
Absolutely, because Dan Quinn is not a first time head coach. I think he was the coach of the Falcons at one point in time.
Yes,
D'Amico
yes,
Ryans is for sure. He was a first time head coach with CJ Stroud, but they grew together. But they were going to
yeah.
get great. They were going to get graceful anyway. They have
They
won
ain't had a
playoff
quarterback since
games.
Deshaun.
Yeah, they have won playoff games together. But even if they didn't, I think the Texans organization would allow D'Amico Ryans to come into his own, to understand what
Yes,
he's like as a head coach.
he is one of theirs.
Yeah,
He played for them. He's showing them like embodiment of what's going on, but like
yeah,
they
and
gave him
change
a
the
grace
culture.
period.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but either way, and even like Andrew Luck, who unfortunately had to retire early, I think he was thrown in a little too early. And had he not been thrown in so early, they would have had an opportunity to shore up that offensive line, which would have kept him in the NFL longer. But
Yeah.
because he played so early, even though he was successful,
Hmm.
they weren't able. They had to pay him early, and they weren't able to kind of shore up the offensive line, which led him to being hurt
Hmm.
as often as he was, and to unfortunately retire at the
Shoot.
age that he
Look
did.
at I'll throw another name out there. Look at it. Trevor Lawrence.
Yep, yep.
We everybody had so high hopes on him, but
Mhm.
what happened? He's been subpar.
Subpar for the last. Even though he won a Super Bowl, or not won a Super Bowl, won
He
a
won a national
national title, but
championship.
he won a playoff game unfortunately, against my Chargers, who were up
Yeah.
24 to
Y'all
nothing.
sold y'all sold the bag on that. Y'all sold the bag for real. But
We
like,
did
but just in
4
general though,
interceptions in
like
the first half and
he
lose.
was
It's
a
crazy.
projected so-called one of those talents, but
Mhm.
look at it. He's been struggling even though he's
Yep,
had structure around him.
yep, yep.
Like, but he
And a
was
great coach,
touted.
Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl with Philadelphia, their
Yeah.
first. So who will never have to buy him and Jason Kelsey, Nick Sirianni, and Doug Peterson will never have to buy a beer
I
in
think Andy Reid
Philadelphia
still
ever.
doesn't have to buy
I
Reed
don't think
because
Andy Reid
they're
does either. So yeah, throw Andy Reid in there. But yeah, I mean, it's I these organizations need to learn. Like one, you're not finna. First off, the
minimum
The
2 to
Bears
3
haven't
year
won
grace
since
period,
forever.
bro.
Yeah, they need a three. I think three for sure. I think
3 is fair. I
three is
think
a
3 is
good
fair,
number
bro.
to give a first time head coach or a head coach that is drafting in the lottery that didn't have a quarterback before, like some type of a major piece, which is usually a quarterback. If they didn't have a quarterback the previous season, they're drafting early in the draft lottery draft. They should have a 3 year grace period. So that's 2 years with that new lottery pick. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and to kind of figure it out. And then you shouldn't be firing coordinators either, unless the coordinator is just bad. Like I think anything coming out of the Shanahan tree, and I mean Kyle Shanahan, not Mike Shanahan. Anything coming out of the Kyle Shanahan tree is garbage, other than McDaniels. But McDaniels is not like he's above average because let's be real, without Tua and with Tua, he's had the same record as Beeflo. And Beeflo didn't want him, and he's not an offensive guy. Yes, Tua
Mm-hmm.
has looked great under McDaniels, but McDaniels is an offensive guy, so he should look better. But when you look at it without Tua, he's still a 9-7 guy or a non-playoff guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, how great is he? I
And they
think
got
anything coming out of
weapons.
McVay, anything coming out of Andy Reid,
Mm-hmm.
are legit. Those are the two best offensive trees in the NFL. Period. And I think
I
McVay
can't
might be number one.
I can't agree with that. They put out some good head coach. They put out some good offenses. I
Yeah,
can't
for
shit.
sure, for sure. And Shanahan is garbage. Don't
You're
argue
not
with
your
me.
daddy. I ain't gonna lie, you're not your daddy.
Argue with your mama.
Look, you're not your daddy.
No, no,
So
no, no. But and we've seen it. But I think we're gonna end it there. We did want to kind of get in that WNBA, but we're just gonna save that for later. Um, with the unrivaled stuff, and then coming into the women's draft going into the WNBA season. We'll probably talk about that next week. Um, thank you
all the
for
tourneys should be
yeah. Alternate
solidified
should be
next week.
going. I think we're gonna just to talk about it, I think we're gonna try to do some episodes based on the days of the tourneys, like the round. We'll do maybe do per round. Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, share, please. Thank you. Hopefully we can hurry up, get to this 500 club and get to this 1,000 club. Appreciate you guys tuning in and hearing us babble sometimes and going in. Cuz as always, much love and I
You
salute.
already know what it is.